Hello and good morning to cluster monitoring for the student cluster competition 2024. My name is Benjamin Bosch. I'm a CHPC lead software engineer, and my colleague, Mr. Sean February, is a CHPC senior cloud engineer, and we'll be covering this section. So the goal of this lesson is to briefly introduce you to cluster monitoring and give you an easy yet effective way to get started as soon as possible. Now, cluster monitoring can mean many things. You can monitor various things like the temperature, your UPS, fiber copper cabling, power rail, various things you can monitor on a cluster. So we'll be focusing on very specific things for cluster monitoring, but it's always useful to know why I need to monitor things. So it's critical aspect of managing any Linux machine. It helps detect and resolve issues promptly, provides you better insight into the resource usage, such as your CPU, memory, disk, and network utilization, and allows you to optimize as well. And also cluster monitoring aids in planning and infrastructure and scale for workload demands. So it's important to know, how your cluster is functioning. So the traditional way of monitoring on a cluster or in a Linux machine is you can use the built-in command line tool like top or htop. And these tools provide real-time insight into system info, giving you resource usage and system load and memory, CPU, all those things. And this comes pre-installed on most Linux distributions and just gives you a quick snapshot of your system activity. Just like your task manager, you can look at your resources as well on Windows. This is a similar thing. So you also have htop, which is a bit more user-friendly, a bit more colorful. And these tools are useful for real-time monitoring and troubleshooting. They lack the capability to aggregate and visualize data across nodes and in a cluster and everything else. So we need something that's a bit more visual. So that's why we have the option we're going to propose today, or the standard in this sense. So this is where we want to get to today, using interface called Grafana. And this is quite often a standard for using cluster monitoring. And we're using multiple tools or services. Here I'm just showing Grafana, but there's other services that work with Grafana. And as you can see, it's a nice interface, runs on your browser, and you can see the data being captured in graphs and whatnot. And today, this is the expectation that you'll get to doing the same thing. So how do we get this? Well, we need various services and various tools that we're going to get there. So we have a few things. We obviously preferably running a Rocky Linux machine, so on your head node. And then we're going to be using Grafana as a front end on your browser to see the data. And then we'll also be using other services. So the one we have here is Prometheus. And Prometheus is a powerful time series database, collects and stores metrics from various endpoints, and also includes Node Exporter, which provides system-level metrics from Linux machines. So all this is bundled. We try to bundle it together for you. So again, Grafana is just sort of a visualization, integrates quite well with Prometheus for interactive dashboards. So how are we going to work, make this all work together? So we're going to do this with Docker Compose. And this is a bit of an easier way and a way to do this quite well. Instead of having to install things separately and connect them, we're going to deploy it with Docker Compose as a single installation for the services. So you might know about containers or kind of containerization. If you don't know, this is a bit of an intro to Docker Compose as well. So Docker is a platform that enables you to create containers. containers are lightweight, a lot of environments that packages applications and dependencies. And Docker Compose is a tool that allows you for the definition and management of multiple containers as well. So it's a very useful tool. I won't go in too much detail because we are the purpose isn't to learn about Docker Compose, but just to how to use it. And similarly with all the other tools, you don't have to know too much how it actually works, just how to really use it for now. So in the context of the cluster monitoring on the Rocket Linux head node, we will use Docker and Docker Compose to bundle Grafana, Prometheus, and Node Exporter to easily deploy the containers. This hopefully will simplify the installation and configuration process and get you up and running as soon as possible. Okay, so let's get started. So now I'm going to briefly go through the tutorial notes that you'll be doing on your own. And we try to do this as easy as possible for you. Really just copy and paste in your terminal. And at the end, I will show you how I'll do this on a Rocky VM. So prerequisites is we're assuming you have a Rocky 9.03 VM running on Saboa, and SSH keys are running as well. Okay, so we assume this is working. You're already logged in, maybe an open mobile XML PowerShell or whatever. So we first have to install Docker Engine and Docker Compose, and this can easily be done, following this link. They have installations for various operating systems. We're using Rocky. You can choose whatever distribution, Linux distribution like Ubuntu, CentOS, or whatever. They have a few varieties in the steps, but ultimately the same thing. So install steps, it's really just copy and paste. You click on this little icon, paste it into your terminal, and it'll do installation. And again, at the end, I will show you step by step how this will work. So yeah, we're going to go through all the steps to install Yummy Utils package, and then install Docker Engine and Docker Compose. Quite straightforward steps. We're going to start Docker and just run this little test image just to make sure it works. Again, you don't have to know how this, the details behind it, just to make sure that it works and it's up and running. Again, we're just using it, so don't worry about if you don't know why in the world we have to know Docker. You don't for the time being. We're just using it. And then at the end, we just want to check that you have Docker Compose as up and running. So we just do a version control. Just check whatever version you're running. So that's important. All right, so that's just getting Docker up and running. It shouldn't take too long. And then we're going to start the actual installation of the monitoring stack. Now, my colleague Sean February was actually the person that developed the steps for this. I'm just packaging it for you nicely and presenting it. So what you'll need to do is create a directory in opt monitoring stack. So opt is usually restricted, so you have to use sudo for that to make a directory. And what you do is you'll just input the following commands into your terminal. Just click on that, paste it, enter, and then it will work as expected. And then you go to the next command is just to in nano or vim. I'm assuming we're always using vim here, so we have to create a file. We have to create three files. First a Docker Compose file, and then copy and paste. The contents are what you see here. Click on the copy button here, paste it in nano, and save it. So again, I'll show you at the end how this is done. So then, again, don't worry too much about all this. We'll maybe cover it later in the tutorial in more depth. My colleague Sean maybe can go into this more depth, but you don't have to know this for now. It'll actually just works as is for you. So, okay, we created that one file. Then we have to create the Prometheus file as well as the Prometheus data source YAML file as well. So again, copy these commands to open up Nano, copy the content, click on these buttons, and then we'll create those files with the content in it. And that's pretty much it. You have those 3 files, and then now you can do this command sudo docker compose appd um, to create these containers, and then you can do a docker ps just to check they are all running. You should see something like this, and if they're up and running, then your monitoring stack is actually working. Now we just need to verify that we're getting everything correctly. So which is test the services in your command line. Just do a curl of this command. You should see some metrics popping out over here. This is just to test everything's working. Same with node exporter. Do a curl command, copy and paste, and it should see this output over here. And then lastly, Grafana, do a curl command, and you should see like a login window, something like that as well, in your command line. Again, this is just for testing, just to make sure everything works. So next thing you need to do is actually go to a browser, and to do that, we're going to tunnel. So you'll have your own IP address that you'll use, and we're going to just use the tunnel command to open up in a browser. And then copy these commands here. And then in your browser, you should see, or open up a browser and just punch in this URL, and you should see Grafana pop up. And then what you do is you'll input admin, that's the password, the username and password, admin. Then you go to dashboards. Again, I will show you this shortly. I'm just briefly going over this. Go to dashboards. Then you go here to import, and then you go type in the number 1860 and click on load. For source, you click on Prometheus, and then so there, this is what you see. Just click on Prometheus as source, and you click on import over here, and you'll get your dashboard up and running just like that. This is what you'll see. So this is actually the whole process. I showed you very quickly, obviously, but now we're going to actually do it on a machine itself. Okay, so let me open up my MobiX term. All right, so I have logged into my VM, and I'm going to follow the tutorial notes as is. As I've shown you in a PowerPoint presentation, I expect you to do the same thing. So the first one is just to make sure the Docker Compose installed. So copy and paste the command here. I'm going to run it, and it'll start with that. So I will pause the recording. Some of this stuff might take a bit of time. So okay, that didn't take too long. Now we have to do the config manager. So copy and paste over here out of the repo, and now we're going to install Docker. Just say type Y for you to install it. That's fine. That will install all the packages we need for Docker, Docker Compose, Docker Engine, everything else. Yes, we want to do that as well. And just still waiting for that. So if you want to know more about this, we can discuss this in the tutorial, why we're using Docker Compose. But again, it's a quite nice way to get a monitoring stack up and running for your cluster. So that was quite quick. Now we can start it. Okay, and then let's just get that test. The test image, it has to pull from the internet. It's not built on, so it's pulling that. And there we go. Hello from Docker. This is what you should see. Everything's working, so Docker is working. And now let's just check we have Docker Compose working. Yep, that's what you want to see. Okay, now let us go on to actually building our stack. Okay, so let me just clear the window. Just typing clear and then clears it. And we're gonna create this directory and then cd into it. There I am. So ls, nothing in at the moment. So now I'm going to create the file. So it's using nano, so Docker compose file. I don't have nano installed yet. So let's install nano first. So we can just use this command to install nano if it's not installed already. There we go. So I'm just clear the screen again. So we're starting from the top. So where were we now? We were looking at creating a Docker compose file. Paste that. Okay, so we're in nano. So I'm just copying and pasting all this content over here. Control X, Y, and enter. And you can check that file is there. There's a file. You can cat the file as well. The file is there. Okay. Next file we need to do is Prometheus file. So copy and paste that command. Copy the content of the file. Control X, enter, Y, enter. Check the file is there. And the content of the file is also there. Yep, there it is. Clear it. And then data source file. Again, you can type this out if you want. I'm just copying and pasting directly from the tutorial. So that's just to make it life a bit easier. There are ways to actually automate this, but I mean, we wanted to also do this yourself as well. There's a Prometheus data source file, so everything's there. Okay. All right, so let's get this up and running. Start the services. So I said pull Prometheus Grafana from the internet. It's downloading it. So we have it locally here. So that should be done almost. And then, okay, it's all fine. If you clear that again, clear the screen. And now do sudo docker ps just to make sure if everything's up and running. Yep, there it is. Let me just maybe do it again. It's a bit long. Well, there we go. Everything's up and running. Okay. So what I want to see. Sudo. Yeah, everything's up and running. Okay, so let's just now check our services are running. So let's first check Prometheus. Curl. Yeah, that's fine. Get some output there. And let's now check node exporter, port 9100. Prometheus is 1990. Node exporter is 900. That's all fine. And now let's check Grafana. Yeah, just get the login, which is okay. That's fine. Okay, so everything's up and running and everything's working. So now let us create our own. Go to Grafana on the browser and log into that. Okay, so you can tunnel or to be able to see the Grafana browser on your local browser. We have to tunnel to do that locally. So let's just exit that, and I think I have a command here already. So this might be different for yours, and you might not need this ID RSA. I'm just doing things a bit differently, but what is important is this command here to tunnel locally. So if I run that command, it'll just, connect to Rocky again. But now what you notice is that if you open up a browser, so let me open up a browser over here. And I go localhost 2000. you'll see that Grafana appears. So again, I said just input admin as a password. You can change it if you want to, but just skip that for now. And what you do is go to dashboards, go to new, go to import, punch in here 1860, click on load, and it finds Node Exporter. Select Prometheus as a data source, click on import, and there we go. There is your fully functional Grafana dashboard. Okay, so again, this is what we want you to get to in the tutorial. So hopefully you found these steps useful. Yeah, thank you very much. All the best.